Hi there. Welcome to today's show where we're going to go in depth with Mr. Gondolfi, not about books, not about music, not about movies, not even necessarily about philosophy, but instead about one of his hobbies, woodworking. We're going to take a live look into Mr. Gondolfi's basement where he's building a shelf, not just because it's cheap and not just because it's fun, but because it's soul nourishing for him. Hey, maybe there's a little bit of philosophy there. Anyways, at the end of the show, we'll also hear his recommendations on what he's reading, what he's watching, what he's listening to, which are included here or here, depending how this is edited. And of course, continue the debate, is peanut butter a vegetable? Spoiler alert, Mr. Gondolfi says no, but with stipulations. All right, I enjoyed sitting down and talking with Mr. Gondolfi. If you'd like to skip through the interview to certain parts, check the comments below for different times. All right, I think everything's recording. Yep, we're good.
Maybe the clap.
Go for the clap.
I shouldn't have said that.
Okay, I'm gonna also try a clap. My clap was bad. All right, hello everybody. We are here today with Mr. Gondolfi.
Hello.
In quite an unusual setting. How's it going, Mr. Gondolfi? Where are you at right now?
I'm doing good. I'm here at my house in my basement. This is my little workshop space I've got set up to do different projects I'm working on.
Okay, so clearly this is quite a bit different from your classroom.
Yeah.
But I do think, I'm just guessing here, I'm not quite sure. I'm guessing that students who have been in your classroom have seen a product that has come out of this very workshop.
Ooh. They have probably seen products that were made with tools from this workshop, but nothing that was directly lifted out of here.
Okay. So this is what about your crazy bookshelf?
That I built all at school.
At school?
Yeah.
On school property? On
school property. I had Mr. Reacher all day sitting in my classroom like a couple hours a day watching me work on it.
So you were supervised. Good. Because I'd be worried.
Yeah. In case of an accident.
Well, great. So obviously this is day 5 of no school. And I also am sitting in a basement. Many people I've talked to are sitting in basements or kitchens, which I think is really interesting view to see in on people's lives. So tell us, why'd you choose to be sitting in your basement right now? I'm imagining you're going upstairs sometimes. What is this what your break has looked like so far?
I would say like in the afternoons, most of my break I spend down here. The rest of the basement's a complete disaster area. And I'm slowly trying to like clean things up in addition to working on a new shelf that I'm building for my living room.
Okay. Now, I thought you were an English teacher.
I am.
And I thought that all you do, especially with the books you have and the way you talk about stuff, I thought all you did was read and write and maybe like watch a movie or two.
I mean, I do all of those, but ultimately all the books I have need shelves to sit on. So as I buy books, I've got to get more shelves.
Why not go buy shelves? I heard they have shelves at Target. They even have shelves. They have shelves everywhere. So why are we building our own shelves in a time of excessive amounts of shelves and good sales?
Here's my justification for this. Well, one, I just like doing it. I feel a lot of like satisfaction making something that is part of my apartment. Can you hear my dogs barking right now?
Yeah.
2, in 2010 I built 2 big leaning shelves that are on either side of my TV in my living room, and a like smaller, much less robust version of that from Pottery Barn cost like $400, and I built both of those for under $100 total.
Wow.
So, and they're exactly the size I want. They hold all the stuff I need them to hold.
Wow. And are you going and chopping down trees yourself?
No, actually, let me think. I can't remember when I got all the wood for the shelf I'm currently building, but it was while all the coronavirus stuff was happening. So I placed a pickup order, and somebody wheeled it out of the store on a cart and kind of like tossed the cart to me so that we didn't even have to interact with it about it. So I buy all my stuff from Home Depot, basically.
Okay. Okay. If let's say looking 15 years down the line,
Yeah.
20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, 50 years down the line, are you gonna stick to shelves, or what are the dreams of woodworking?
Well, my next project actually is, so my parents live about an hour and a half from Chicago, and they had two really big oak trees in their backyard that have been there since we've lived there, which is almost my whole life. And they were all leaning towards the house, and they had a guy come out and look at them, and they were like very much in danger of falling. So they cut down these oaks, and they had like almost the entire inside had been either rotted out or eaten out. But there was enough wood left over for my dad to take it to a mill and turn it into a bunch of planks. And this summer, I'm going to build a dining room table out of the wood from the oak trees in my parents' backyard.
And that dining room table, I'm assuming that's not for your classroom.
No, that is for my house as well.
Wow. So if a student or somebody wanted to get, so I have no woodworking experience, for example. Trying to think if I have anything. No, I have zero woodworking. Actually, the people who lived here before, their son made that. I only know that because it says Mark S under it. But in terms of me, yeah, sorry about that's a cool X-ray of a. I feel like I need to explain myself there. That's an X-ray of yeah, I'm not going to explain myself. Yeah, my basement. But if I want to get started with woodworking, what would you recommend I start with? Like, where can I start? Let's say I don't really have too many. I've got a screwdriver, I've got some 2x4s, I've got a handsaw, and I've got some screws.
Ooh, I would honestly start by getting some more tools.
Okay, what tools should I get?
Well, bare minimum, you should have a drill, like a power drill.
Okay.
And the handsaw is nice, but if you're going to be cutting a lot of stuff, it's a lot of work. So I would say either a circular saw, which actually I've got right here, circular saw, or I just got this for my birthday this year. This is a compound miter saw, and it's completely made my life so much better working with stuff down here.
And what's that? Is there a tube coming off of that, like a scuba tube?
Yes. So just over, while schools have been closed, I hooked up my shop vac to the dust collector back here, so when I cut, not as much sawdust comes out.
And it just goes straight. You turn on the shop vac, it pulls out the sawdust.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And is it being held together with like duct tape or?
Well, I've got like a super old bungee cord holding it to that pipe up there. And then honestly, I just like shoved it in hard enough that it stuck.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like it meets OSHA standards for basement, for small light industry.
And I think you don't need to worry about a face mask or anything.
Right.
Completely safe.
Great. So besides doing woodworking and listening to your dogs bark upstairs, what have you been reading, writing, listening to, watching? What recommendations would you give to anybody out there right now?
Oh yeah, so I've been reading The Overstory by Richard Powers.
Yes.
Which I believe you read.
Yes. Trees are the main character.
Yes. Yeah. And oddly enough, I don't know how this happened, but I would say of all of the reading I've done so far in 2020, so much of it has to do with either like nature writing or like nature being a key feature of it. So I'm kind of trying to stick to that. The next book I'm going to read is Braiding Sweetgrass. I can't remember the author's name, but Robin Wall Kimmerer maybe or something like that.
So Overstory is about trees, right?
Yeah.
And trees are kind of the main characters. They're kind of the protagonists of the book.
Yeah.
How do you justify reading a book that champions trees while creating things out of the dead bodies of trees?
Yeah, that is a tough question.
I'm joking. They happily give themselves to you.
Well, I mean, to be honest, after reading about 3/4 of the book so far, I am really thinking about what do we do to stop the deforestation that's happening all over the world, but especially those old growth forests. I'm thinking about like those trees that have been alive for thousands of years that are being cut down.
Right. And yeah, I was joking about your light industry tables being a danger to trees everywhere. But I do know when I read the book too, I thought, wow, there's so much more happening with trees than I ever knew. Even though it's a fiction book, it's not a piece of
Yeah,
nonfiction.
I know, and I'm trying to like not accept too much of what is said in the book as like actual fact without doing some additional research, but it's pretty compelling.
Yeah, right. Because they talk about how trees sort of communicate with each other.
Yeah, and that is true. I've read a little bit about that, and I think there's a book called The Secret Life of Trees, if I'm not mistaken, that I want to read that is about that.
Isn't there a book also, The Secret Life of Bees?
There is.
Are they related at all?
I think just in the title alone.
They're not a sequel. The
No.
trees is not okay. I know that you love listening to music. Students know that too. What's on your playlist right now?
Actually, if you are a student of mine on Google Classroom, I shared a March 2020 playlist with you. So that's all of the non-metal that I've been listening to. And I also shared a Metal of 2020 playlist too. The main album I've been listening to a lot lately has been by a sort of like experimental hardcore group called Code Orange. I want to say they're out of Pittsburgh. And the album's called Underneath, and I'm calling it right now. I think it might be one of the best metal albums to come out this year.
Best, okay. An early pick from Mr. Gondolfi,
Yeah.
best metal album of the
I'm
year.
not saying the best. I'm saying like top 5.
One of the best. Okay, top 5. I'm gonna put that back in my notes. Top 5 best metal albums of the year.
It's worth a listen.
Great. And then movies. If you have one movie recommendation.
Ooh. I honestly have been watching a lot more TV than movies. So can I pick TV?
Yeah, go for TV.
If you haven't watched it, Watchmen.
Okay, I have not watched The Watchmen.
Oh, it's excellent.
And who watches The Watchmen? A lot of people watch The Watchmen, right?
I think so. I think a lot of people we work with have watched it, and I'm catching up. I'm a little behind.
So there are a lot of people watching The Watchmen.
Yes.
Awesome.
Watchmen is also the name of a character in The Overstory.
Oh, yeah. And Watchmen, look at this. We can just, how many times can we say Watchmen? How many times? And Watchmen, if I've read the graphic novel.
Okay.
That has a lot to do. Does the TV show also have to do with responding to like a global crisis of sorts? If I'm being honest, I haven't seen the movie. I haven't read the graphic novel, so I've found most of the show to be kind of confusing, but I'm trusting that a lot of it will be answered the more I watch. I've heard that you don't need to have read or watched anything to watch the show and get it. But I guess without giving too much away, there was some sort of like major global catastrophe in the past of this show that was designed to like unify people. Okay. Yes. Oh, my lips are sealed.
Okay.
I'm saying nothing else. We should end this interview right now before I spoil things.
But yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
we'll see what happens. I'm enjoying watching it. It's a great show.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is still technically a spoiler-free interview, but I was treading on thin ice there. So the last thing for the day, we're going to do a little Ask Science. I don't know, Miss Bacamini and I got very confused about peanut butter and whether it is a vegetable or not. Apparently peanut butter is a legume. Still doesn't answer the question if legumes are vegetables. I believe they are not, from what I understand.
Legumes are vegetables.
Oh, so peanut butter is a vegetable.
No. See, here's where the difference comes in. Like legumes and like what you typically think of as vegetables, both vegetables. Peanut butter, however, is a product. It is minimally processed, and a vegetable should technically be unprocessed. So in the same way that I wouldn't call guacamole a vegetable. I would call an avocado a vegetable, but guacamole is a product made from that vegetable.
But guacamole is actually a fruit, because isn't an avocado a fruit?
I mean, like botanically speaking, yes, but then, like, what do you say about like a cucumber or a tomato?
That was actually going to be my question.
So I typically differentiate between the two as there's like the nutritional vegetable, like a tomato, a cucumber, an avocado are all nutritionally vegetables, and I'm not sure why we make that distinction. Maybe like we typically think of fruits as sweet or sour.
Right.
But botanically speaking, like the cucumber, the tomato, the avocado are all fruits of that plant. A true vegetable would either be like a root or leaves.
What about a mushroom?
Ooh, good question.
Okay.
Qualifies a vegetable.
I think it's a vegetable. If it goes in pasta sauce, it's a vegetable.
Except for meat.
Except for what?
Meat.
Oh, right. But chicken's a vegetable. Just kidding. I already clarified chicken is not, it is not vegetarian to eat chicken. To go back to the product though, so the second that I start chewing on a piece of broccoli, it's no longer a vegetable, it's a product?
I would say that like the chewing is like part, I don't know. I feel like it's different when it's part of the consumption versus when it's part of the preparation. But then I guess wouldn't cooking a vegetable make it a product and not a vegetable anymore?
Right. We'll continue investigating this, but peanut butter.
I'm gonna go peanut butter is not a vegetable.
Okay. It's a product. Is it a vegetable product though?
I think you could call it a vegetable product.
Okay.
If you're being generous.
So, kids, eat your vegetables. All right. Mr. Gondolfi, thank you for being here for the end of the show. Are there any questions or challenges you'd like to pass on to the next any students or next person on this show?
Man, I wasn't prepared for this. I think you can be in charge of that. Just give them the best one you got.
Great. I will do that. Okay. Mr. Gondolfi, thank you for being here today. Stay safe with your woodworking. And we look forward to seeing the finished product. Hopefully, we will only be out long enough to see one shelf and not multiple pieces of furniture.
Also, with how long it's taking me, it'll probably be done sometime next year. So.
Okay. Fantastic.
All right.
All right. See you later, Mr. Gondolfi.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Gondolfi. We cannot wait to see that shelf. In the meantime, as always, send me your requests, send me your questions. I'll try to get them on the show. And if you're going to be woodworking at home, please remember to use protective equipment, especially if you're working with power tools. That includes eyes, nose and mouth, and ears. Until next time, this is Mr. Buse signing off.